Thank you to each of my colleagues. Thank you to Vice Chair Bradford, and thank you to Budget Chair Whaley for organizing today's event. And for my colleagues taking your time out of your Saturday mornings for us all to be here to dig into this important work. I'd also like to thank the Memphis Zoo for hosting us in this beautiful from the back. So it was assets here in our city and our county, and we're so thankful that they've allowed us to use this space today. I do just want to say that today's meeting is the kickoff of our 26-27 fiscal year. We as a county know that we have not only a lot of challenges, but more importantly, we have opportunities. And so I think today's meeting is for us to have a level set on what those challenges and, more importantly, what the opportunities are. I look forward to digging in today with my colleagues. I appreciate that each of them bring a strong commitment to how we will work through what will be a difficult budget season. However, with their expertise, their passion, and even for those who are not coming back, who are retiring from this great commission, they bring a level of great understanding to help us get through what we know will be a difficult time. But again, it's more opportunities than we want to see challenges. So we always want to think about it from that strength-based lens. I'd love now to invite from the zoo, Mr. Matt Thompson, who is going to come and welcome us to his beautiful facility. We hope to be, thank you for your patience in a few minutes getting late, but we hope to wrap up right around noon. But what we want
at the zoo. I'm sorry about the weather. So let me see if I could advance these slides here. Awesome, thank you. All right. So this morning I promised to be brief, but I really I'm up here to report that it's been an overwhelming success as far as our expansion goes. So I want to report on that. I want to tell you about a couple updates going on here at the zoo. We always try to have something going on, and then set the stage, of course, for future conversations. I want to play a quick thank you video and let you hear directly from some of our grateful Tennessee Tuesday guests.
From 9 a.m.
Get the kids something to do. You know, the kids love the animals. I like the atmosphere, the environment. It's a safe place, quiet place. Get a peace of mind.
It's been great for the community. I've come here before, you know, in summertime, and it's been packed. But we still, when you're in the zoo, it doesn't feel crowded, which is awesome still.
If you are homeschooling or you have, it's good to come on Tuesdays and you can spend time with your family and make new memories. They have a lot of cool animals out here and interactive zookeeper chats at different times. So, yeah.
It's a great opportunity for us. You know, we get to babysit on a Tuesday afternoon, so we get to bring them out, enjoy it out here, and kids get to walk around.
So this has been, our kickoff was in September, and that was a really fun day. Commissioner Caswell spoke and talked to the people that showed up that morning. But I'd like to add that since that day, not only has it been very successful. The different components of making it a success have all come together. So first of all, the nuance significant about that is March is by far one of our busiest months. It's the spring break and all of that kind of thing. But we haven't had Tennessee Tuesday in March since 2010, which is very, very significant. So this allowed that to return. I would like, because we have the online reservation system, we're able to track zip codes. So our top zip codes that you can see there are 38128, Raleigh-Fraser, 38127, Fraser, 38109, Whitehaven Westwood, 38111, U of M, and 38106, which is a Cordova zip code. So we're reaching, you can see by the map that we're reaching every corner of the community of Shelby County. These are our biggest takeaways. One of the demographics that we didn't necessarily expect to see a large change in was our seniors. And so since the day is now all day, you can come in the cool of the morning, even on that opening day, we have seen an increase in seniors and senior couples and grandparents and that kind of thing coming to the zoo to walk the zoo, bring their grandkids, just walk and enjoy the zoo. So that's been really a neat thing, and that continues today. Less overcrowding. Before, if you recall, it was always 2 to close. It was kind of compressed. The crowds were big. Everybody was trying to get it in. In July and August, it's really hot. Again, this allows people to come in the cool of the morning. We just couldn't do it before. We really needed that paid admission, for half that day. And again, this grant has allowed us to expand and make it all day. And then again, guests have caught onto the reservation system really, really quickly. Our impact, this is a busy slide, I'm not going to read it all to you, but I do quickly want you all to see some of these numbers. 66% of our annual visitors reside outside of Memphis. So 52%, and you see that number up there, of our general admission comes from outside Shelby County. And so actually they come from beyond 50 miles is that number. And so that makes us a destination zoo, a destination location. So people are that's a large number that people are deciding to come into Memphis because of this zoo. And you can see the map there of touching. Some quick exhibit updates. So we're going to have a groundbreaking this spring on our new Stingray exhibit. We're very excited about this. So people love aquatics, people love immersive exhibits and things that they can touch. And so that's going to happen. It's going to be a standalone exhibit. It's included with general admission. It's a beautiful, beautiful exhibit. And we think it's another step forward in making Memphis Zoo and Memphis a great place. So this is going on the west end, kind of near the zip line. So we are continuing to activate that end of the zoo. I want to mention our Holiday Lantern Festival. Did anyone make our Holiday Lantern Festival this year in the room? Maybe handful? Okay. I hope, if not, I hope you'll come back next year. This was a very successful event for us. We had over 100,000 visitors just in December, and the event went from December to January. Unfortunately, we lost half of that because of the ice storm. But 100,000 visitors just in December is a really big number. You can see what that equates to in visitors from Tennessee, with 17,000 being from Mississippi and 5,000 being from Arkansas. But I would like you to look at the concentration on that map of people coming deep within Mississippi. And so this number is very significant for us. It's more than 20,000 visitors than we've had before in our largest Zoo Lights event. That's a very significant increase. I'd like to also point out that this is a night event. So people are coming, into our city at night from deep within, many of them deep within Mississippi, which means that they're staying in our hotels and eating at our restaurants. I happen to recently have joined the board of Memphis Tourism, and they reported that unexpectedly, we had an increase in 12% increase in hotel stays specifically in December. And so I don't want to claim sole responsibility for that, but I like to think that we played a role in that. So if you didn't see this event, please come next year. We're going to do it for at least 5 years, and it's a 100% new show every year. So it's a fun thing to see. And finally, I want to make just a few points, and I will let you guys resume. But first, I want to say that your investment, your $1.5 million investment in Tennessee Tuesday, has already produced an immediate and measurable return for Shelby County residents. In just the first 6 months, more than 25,000 reservations were made through our new system. Thousands of families who might not otherwise have access to the zoo are walking to our gates. Second, what is especially meaningful is who we are reaching. Our highest participation is coming from communities like Raleigh, Fraser, Whitehood, Westwood, University District, and of course, Cordova. We're reaching every corner of Shelby. It's doing exactly as we had hoped. Third, the return on your investment has been fast and efficient. I really appreciate it. Reduced overcrowding, we've improved the guest experience, and we've ensured that free access is distributed fairly amongst the community. We continue to drive economic activity for the county, with over 1 million visitors annually and more than half of general admission guests traveling from outside Shelby County. We remain one of the region's most powerful tourism engines. Programs like Tennessee Tuesday, meaningful ways Shelby County demonstrates its commitment to access, education, and opportunity for every family in our community. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity, allowing us to expand this program. Thank you for being here today, and I hope it's a productive day for you.
Before I hand it over to Budget Chair Whaley, I was remiss in not acknowledging all of the elected officials who are also in the room. Thank you, Mayor Harris, for being here. Thank you for Clerk Kuhn, Clerk Sawyer, Clerk Halbert, Trustee Newman. I hope I haven't missed anyone? But I did want to just also acknowledge and thank them for being present today. It really does take all of our cooperative effort in order for us to be able to have this kind of robust discussion. So, Chair Whaley, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman Avant. I'll echo all of those sentiments. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the other elected officials who are here, and thank you to my fellow commissioners. Also want to thank our staff. They really helped tremendously in pulling this off and putting it together. So thank you to all of the staff that serves us at the County Commission. So as we know, this is our last budget together. This is really the unofficial or official kickoff of that season. We have, my hope is that we don't have those same fond memories this time. Vision that I have for the budget process this season. Knowing that that's just one person's vision, and it requires all of us, or at least the majority of us, I think, to be aligned with that process to make sure that it's successful. So if you look at today's agenda, it's intentionally focused on revenues, so revenue collections, any potential allocations that may have to be changed this year, or numbers that may have to be changed. But it primarily focuses on the funds coming in versus the funds going out. And that's intentional. I think this is a year that we really need to focus first on aligning amongst ourselves what we expect our revenues to be. And we rely heavily on the guidance from Trustee Newman and the Assessor's Office. And we have Chief Bailey here with us today to make informed decisions on what those revenues will be. Because like many at home, you need to understand, what you're bringing into the household first before you can properly budget and decide what you're spending your hard-earned money on. And I think that's the same thing that we want to say to the taxpayers. So number one is making sure that we're aligned on whatever we decide the revenues will be or should be for this coming fiscal year. Number two is, along with that, we really need to give serious consideration to replenishing the fund balance. We saw, especially this year, how important the fund balance is, because you often have unexpected things that might come up, but you also have the expected, which is the flows of which revenues come in. We've known and we've always known that revenue does not come in equally over the course of the year, and it does not certainly come at the very beginning of the fiscal year. So we are now at the point where we have collected the majority of what we will collect in the fiscal year, and we're well past the halfway point. So replenishing the fund balance is quite an important task, and I believe that should be among the first things that we look at when we think about what the revenues are coming in and how we're allocating those revenues going forward. The next component is sustainability of the budget. Because we are, as a group, leaving the commission, some will be coming back, but many of us will be leaving at the end of this term. And so we want to make sure that the budget is sustainable. We want to make sure that it's not only a solid budget for FY27, but it's a budget that's sustainable for the next 4+ years. So in that regard, one concept, and honestly, this is for feedback that I would like to get from my colleagues and really from all of you as well, is that one of the challenges that we work through is that we have many needs in our community, or we have many worthy organizations that rely on county support to be able to thrive. And these are things that we have been proud to support over the years. And I know we will continue to support because those investments are critical to the future of Shelby County. But it often can take a disproportionate amount of our time. Right? We can often find ourselves spending a lot of time hearing a lot of worthy presentations of a lot of really important organizations, and perhaps spend less time on what our revenues should be coming in. How do we sustain the budget? How do we build a solid fund balance? And so one opportunity I think we can look at, and again, commissioners, you can just say, no, that's a crazy idea. But I believe we can create something like a innovation impact fund that'll dedicate resources to supporting initiatives that have a proven impact and a proven return on investment in our community. Again, these are many of the same things we're already doing, but allows for the future commission to be able to decide early on what their priorities are, right? What they believe they want to make critical investments in. And it gives us a chance to solidify our legacy by setting aside an impact fund that can be deployed strategically in our community. I imagine that this fund would have what is commonly seen in pension boards as an investment committee. That you'd create an investment committee that would not just be seated by members of the commission, but would include members of the public that'd be able to make really strategic recommendations on how we invest components of this innovation impact fund. But ultimately, of course, the decision on any investments will be made by the Board of Commissioners. But the opportunity this provides is that it allows us to say we believe in investing in the future, but we also know that it's quite difficult to kind of pick winners in the moment and decide exactly what those investments should be. So this way we can have an objective criteria that allows us to measure the impact and get results from those organizations and be able to decide whether or not to continue, increase, or decrease those investments over time. So that's really the vision that I'm kind of trying to cast today. I think we have an opportunity to not only really make some good, bold investments through an impact fund, but I think set up the county government for strong sustainability over the years to come. You also have with you a copy of the budget development calendar, and just want to quickly highlight a few things to keep in mind. One is that we will have quite a busy kind of May and June, as we always do, and I don't anticipate that to be much different. But it's important to note that a lot of this discussion, I think, amongst ourselves around revenues should take place well before that. And we will have that kick-started obviously today, but it's something that I anticipate we'll want to make sure we're bringing up on a regular basis. We also here have set dates for, and this is important for the other elected officials in the room as well, is that we have set a standard budget hearing. This is similar to how we've done it in the past, where we want to make sure we hear from the other components of county government directly to hear about what your needs are to ensure your budget is sustainable. So this is something that is currently on this calendar set for May 27th. It is possible that changes to May 20th, but that's something that we'll have solidified shortly so that everyone knows this is particularly important for those other elected officials, the dates of those. We are also planning to have a second public budget meeting. So here at List 1 on May 30th, we are working to have an additional one that we'll do at the beginning of June. And then I've also asked our staff to be able to put together a community budget toolkit that any commissioner can take out into their districts and be able to put on their own budget hearing to get feedback on these priorities. I would personally love to get feedback on the concept of an innovation fund, but that's something that you'll have a toolkit to be able to take out in your districts and share with your constituents. Here you see that we have the final approval of the budget on June 15th. This is the target. We always try to target and make sure we have at least one more meeting to go. The good news is we do have another meeting at the end of June, but if we can stay on target, I think we certainly can make it. But we do have the ability, if we need to have an additional meeting in June. So again, want to thank you all again for being here, to my fellow commissioners for your commitment to this process. This is our last go at it. I think we have an opportunity to really set ourselves up for success in the future, even if all of us may not be sitting on the body to see the fruits of that labor. To all of our partners, thank you for being here and your support in this initiative. And again, appreciate your time for spending a few hours with us this morning. So we do have time at the end of agenda for questions, so that's something we'll hold till the end so we have time to get through all the presentations. And at this time, I'd like to invite the mayor, Mayor Harris, if he'll come up to give us some brief remarks, and then we will hear the first presentation will be from Trustee Newman. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you all.
Hey, how's it going? All right, good morning, and it's great to be out here. I want to thank the Budget Chairman, Chairman Whaley, for the invitation. Also, thanks to the Commission Chairwoman Avant, for organizing us and leading all of us, and for really having focused, shorter meetings lately. So we're very appreciative of that. And the rancor has been completely eliminated in the meetings. And in fact, I had lunch with commission staff, as I do from time to time, and everyone was encouraged, and it was a brighter, nicer vibe. And I think that is largely because of your leadership, Chairwoman Avant. So thank you for that. This is obviously an important year because it is our last budget year, but also because we are right on the heels of the precipice of the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country and the 206th anniversary of the founding of Shelby County. Over the course of that time, of course, Shelby County and the United States of America has done some great things, and that is particularly true of this group. Over the last few years, you've seen this group of commissioners really develop and advance accomplishment after accomplishment, including efforts to make all employees make at least $40,000 per annum, which is something that has been done in addition to large pay raises, historic pay raises for our employees. In addition to, the Commission has recently approved a paid parental leave proposal, and they just did that, and the ongoing work of construction and maintenance with the Memphis Shelby County school system. Shelby County's first transitional housing facility in South Memphis, which is open and helping to reintegrate ex-offenders back into our community, making museums and cultural attractions free for youth and family, free mental health services for youth, a host of new offices, including the Office of Community Engagement and Nonprofit Services, which celebrated its accomplishments recently at a breakfast. The Youth and Family Resource Center, Shelby Cares on 3rd, and on and on. So I'll be really, really brief, just a minute or two to maybe highlight 2 or 3 items and then just participate in the conversation as needed. As we go into the budget process, I would recommend some fundamentals. Fundamental number one is, of course, just making sure that we commit to the budget basics. That is, every time there is a budget amendment, I would suggest to all of you that there has to be a funding source. And so I would recommend changing the practice of passing budget amendments with no funding source. This should never occur, even in committee and even in the early stages of the budget process. Again, this should never occur and does not occur at any stage of the budget process in other bodies like the Memphis City Council. At the same time, in terms of identifying possible revenue sources, I think it'll be tough over the course of the budget hearing process, but who knows, and there may be some opportunities. And so one of the things that we might all take a closer look at is retiring some of the old arrangements that have been around for a very long time and maybe don't service the mission. Revenues associated with those arrangements back to the general fund. The same thing can be true about the previous organization of our tax break funding structure. As you know, we have many organizations in Memphis and Shelby County that can grant tax breaks on behalf of Shelby County government, and perhaps now is the time to consolidate the work of some of those organizations. With a careful, thank you very much. With a careful review, there may be opportunities there to retire some of those organizations whose usefulness has long been outlived. And some of those organizations, by the way, have hefty funds that have accumulated over the years. Those funds, which properly could return to Shelby County government and serve the purposes set out by this commission. And finally and lastly, I'd recommend that we work as hard as we can to de-escalate the grants to outside organizations. Obviously, there is a lot of need in Memphis and Shelby County, and there are nonprofits doing incredible work. But still, we still need to be more careful around the number of grants to outside organizations, particularly the dedicated funding for nonprofits that will last far into the future. The grants to external partners have increased in recent years, and I suspect that the requests from external partners are going to increase significantly in FY27, and so we should all be prepared. At the same time, the request from external partners for grants has evolved, and now the standard is no longer one-time grants to organizations, but instead recurring dedicated funding. And these requests for recurring dedicated funding to external organizations are expected to grow in FY27. So I'd ask the commissioners and others in the budget process to be careful of both, particularly the dedicated funding promises. Dedicated funding for nonprofit partners comes at a high cost, significantly higher than one might expect. That is, the lifetime cost of these recurring commitments is high, destabilizing, and creates potentially impossible scenarios for the next commission and the next county mayor. For instance, the real value of a $1 million recurring commitment is at least $20 million in today's dollars. The real value of a $9.5 million recurring commitment is at least $190 million in today's dollars. And so I would just make those recommendations as we kick off the budget season and the hearing process. I'm appreciative of the opportunity to share some of my opinions, and I look forward to the conversation. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you, Mayor Harris. Trustee Newman, I think we've got you loaded up here next. And then, Commissioners, if you have questions of either Trustee Newman or Chief Bailey, you can ask those at the conclusion or during their presentations. So we'll make sure that we get them while you're still up here. All right, Trustee Newman.
Good morning, everybody. Mayor, Commissioners, other electeds. Hi, Judge. We're going to talk about the potential revenue, the current revenue for fiscal year 26 and the potential revenue for fiscal year 27. I wanted to start on page 2 of your presentation, which is essentially the chart that's in here every year with a little addition to note that every penny you put on the tax rate for a $100,000 house is $2.50 a year. $200,000 house, $5. $300,000 house, $4.50, etc. It's not a lot for commercial property. Instead of $2.50, it's $4 for a $100,000 property. So just to put things in perspective of what you're talking about and how you would impact the taxpayer. The current allocation funds for, hang on a minute, for fiscal year 26, as divided by the commission, you have $1.20 of the tax rate going into the general fund. You have $1.19 going into education and 30 cents going into debt service, which is a little less for debt service than there has been in the past. Budget forecast timeline is on page 4. And as noted, we usually, I'll put it this way. The assessor's office has legally until April 20th to get us the current year's certified assessments so that we can provide a forecast to you. We try to get them a little early. I like to harass Chief Bailey until we get them just a little early. But we do already have the state assessed property roll, which comes in December, but it's for the present year. So that one, we always use the past year to project that one. So that will come in, and then once you set the tax rate, we are preparing to send notices in May and June, testing that load of the certified roll, and getting ready to send tax notices out by late July, early August, depending on when your minutes are approved for the tax rate meeting. So this year, this fiscal year, last summer, they were somewhat late because we didn't have those minutes approved until the last possible end of July. So the sooner we do that, the sooner the bills go out, the sooner the money comes in. On page 5, these are the general impacts on property tax revenue. So you see the little arrows that go up and down, down, up, down. So the tax rate set by the commission can go up and down. The assessment total on the assessor's certified roll can go up and down, usually up. The tax levy adjustments, those being the appeals expected throughout the year, expiring pilots, increasing pilots, TIFs, etc. Those are usually going to take your revenue down slightly. Economic conditions affect both the assessments and the collections. They can go up and down. TIF, the mayor mentioned TIFs, TIF increment financing. These are contracts that have been approved by the commission 10 years ago. They were of insignificant impact. They are now up to being paid out $10.3 million a year. So it's a chunk of the budget. Pilots. We anticipate a small decrease in the number of pilot contracts this coming year. So, but they are a massive reduction to the revenue that comes in. I know they like to think they're an increase to long-term revenue. We'll let somebody else study that, but just in terms of my numbers, we are abating $43 million a year. So that is a decrease. The collection percentage for all types of taxes, the realty, the personal property, the state assessed property, and the pilots ended FY25 at 97.28. It was exactly the same as the year before. It's been up over the past few years, so we hope that it will continue to at least maintain the 97.5 to 2 point range, so that's a good thing. The thing you need to know about the bottom part of page 5, the additional state-controlled statutory impacts on property tax revenue. And these things change the revenue the county gets, and they're in state law. So the first year of the reappraisal cycle is 4 years at present. We'll let Chief Bailey address that, but the first year you have an increase in assessments. The law says you can't get more money, so the state mandates a decrease in your tax rate. We have accepted those tax rates for years now. That's fine, but it keeps your revenues the same. The second year, and based on the state formula for the appeals allowance used in the first year, we have a recapture rate. We have a recapture rate again like we had 4 years ago. It is going to decrease our revenue to the tune of 4 to 5 cents, we anticipate. Nothing we can do about that. And so the state will mandate a new rate for the county that's 4 or 5 cents lower than this year's. Doesn't change what we have to spend. So that's going to be up to the commission. The state has to accept these rates. The county has to accept these rates, and then the county commission can go further, can add, can subtract whatever to the tax rate. But these 3 items that are listed down here all have negative arrows. So after the year of the reappraisal, the next 4 years, your rate's going down. Means your revenue's going down. So you have a choice of either adjusting every year and raising taxes to make up for what's being state mandated, or you can raise that rate or keep it at a level that's going to make up for the next 3 years on the year of the reappraisal. So the recapture rate will be this year. After this year, you have the 3rd and 4th years of the reappraisal cycle. And the reappraisal cycle is impacted by the sales ratio. And the sales ratio applies to us by state law the 3rd and 4th year of the appraisal cycle. In the 3rd and 4th year of the last reappraisal cycle, it cost us $30 million in revenue, 2 years in a row. On the year of the new reappraisal, it expires. But $60 million of revenue is a lot of revenue. The county has not changed its tax rate other than what the state has mandated to adjust for any of these losses. So these are the things you need to realize about this whole 4-year cycle is we're going to set the tax rate. You guys are going to set the tax rate on the year of the reappraisal, which was last year, and we're going to lose money for 3 years. We're going to lose revenue. So something to keep in mind. Now we have specific things that are going to impact the tax revenue for FY27 on page 6. The first is the recapture rate. It appears that appeals may be, according to the state so far, about $13.4 million estimated. That's the 4 or 5 cents we're talking about. That's based on the penny value for the present year. So we'll see what they use. But I'll let Chief Bailey explain when we might receive that. So that's a loss of $13.4 million in revenue likely. The assessment total of the certified roll, we don't know yet. The state assessed property we have, it is up. I hope that the assessment roll is up. I hope that they offset the $13 million. I believe they will. But that means we're not using that money for something else. We're just offsetting the loss. Then we have the property tax rate set by the commission beyond the recapture rate, whether you want to do that or not. That is unknown at this time. Pilot abatements, the present year, they were 43 million. TIF payouts are 10.3. We're looking for a slight decrease in pilot abatements, we hope. Staff is auditing that now. I'll get that to you as soon as possible. So at minimum, we have a $13 million loss in revenue, hopefully offset by growth. The next page, and I know several things on your agenda indicated you wanted me to talk about this, so I hope you can look at the paper in front of you instead of this little tiny chart on the screen. This is the property tax rate history. The blue column represents the changes made by the County Commission to state mandated changes. So what change did actually the County Commission implement? And over the course of the last 19 years, that has been a negative 2.33 cents. You can also see on the column to the right of the blue column, which is the penny value, the historical notations of the penny value, which for fiscal year 26 is 3.208. As the revenues increase, the penny value increases. So I would think that that would be very, very similar in the coming year. We shall see. But our office will provide the actual 27 forecast on every item except current tax line very soon. They're doing pilots now, but as soon as we get the certified roll from the assessor, within an hour we will have you the forecast for the property tax line, the current year property tax line for FY27. As for the end of tax season, which just passed on February 28th, property taxes were collected to the tune of 94.43%. So there's very little left in the year. I can tell you that as of close of business Thursday, we were at 96.5. So the mail is still coming. Part of that is the mail is still coming. We have no backlog of processing, but the mail will come for weeks. That's postmarked February 28th. So we will continue to process the mail, but even between February 28th and March 5th, we got another 2.1 points. So we're almost to where we need to be, which we hope we get 97 point something. And that will continue to grow. You guys get this report every Friday. So if you have any questions about it, always give me a call. Everything else is where it needs to be, where it normally is this time of year. I'm going to point to, this is a new chart for you this year, based on what was on your agenda. And that is, as of February 28th, each year for the last 5 years, where have collections ended out percentage-wise? So you can see on the current tax year line, you're running between 93.3 to 94.6. So we're maintaining that. On the prior year tax year line, and this varies greatly, you can tell a reappraisal year because we pay all the money back out in refunds. We collect it all, we get 100%, we pay in refunds. So that varies greatly. That's not a huge amount. This is about a $17 million line as opposed to a $900 million line. Interest on taxes runs about equal. The pilot line is number 1, 2, 3, 4. And they always wait till the last minute to pay. But we have already got, 81% of them and anticipating more as the mail comes. And then the debt service on pilots is on the next line, and that is actually already overpaid for this year. There may be refunds to be done, maybe got paid twice, et cetera. So that is how the percentages in history fall out for collection percentages for various types of budget lines. Timing of property tax collection is on page 10. As you know, in December we get a spike. Yours and my mortgage companies like to pay taxes in December. So they pay our taxes. About a third of the real estate taxes are paid in December. and usually by mortgage companies. So that's a good thing. And those start coming in the last half of December. Then we have a little drop in January when those of us who may have already paid off our houses don't want to pay until the last minute. And then in February, the rest comes in. So we're going to get, quite a lot of money. This is the FY25 chart, so it doesn't vary greatly from year to year. What you do have to notice is in July, August, September, and October, we don't get a lot. So that's where you run short, and your budget spending is somewhat equal. Your revenue sources are not. This is where we are on delinquent taxes. It has leveled a little bit. We were experiencing a massive drop by collecting more of those. We've collected over 23 million in that pool. And so it has finally leveled between people who are in bankruptcy, in payment plans, et cetera. We've finally gotten down to a number that's not going to go much further. It's going to maintain. It'll get paid off each year and run back up the next year, et cetera. So, historical collection percentage on page 12 of the taxes that are billed. Still in the 97% range. It's slightly different. The 1920 year was impacted by COVID, and since then it's been fairly stable, exactly stable last year and this year. Investment interest is doing really well. The bright blue line on the far right is to date. So that's as of January 31st. The other 2 years are annual, the other two bars. So I'm very pleased with that. And then we have what the trustee does by law and the trustee's office contact information if you ever need it, so everybody's there. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Trustee Newman. Commissioners, any questions before we move on? Commissioner Caswell?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair. When on the annual investment earned, I see it's not a number per se how much the investments earned. Is it amount that's earned from February 2006 to through January 2036?
So through January, thank you, Commissioner. Through January 31st, about $30 million on the left there.
Okay.
So it's over 40 the past couple years.
Okay.
And so we're doing better than the last 2 years. Very pleased.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Caswell. Anyone else? All right, thank you, Trustee Newman. Thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Chief Bailey.
So that's 3 goals.
Yeah, she's saying 30. In terms of me.
Good morning. Morning. You got to forgive my voice a little bit. I'm getting over a bad case of bronchitis. What you have before you, and commissioners, I've given you a little more detailed report than what is going to be on the screen. It's already been passed out to you, but before us we have the the property tax levy and projections for FY27. Shelby County prepares, as we prepare for the upcoming fiscal year, and I'm just going to summarize it, we've now completed most of the assessments for certification. The state pushed us to, State Comptroller's Office pushed us to turn in our sample a little early this year, earlier than normal. We've run error reports, and so the numbers I give you are going to be very close to accurate. We're still running error reports to clean up any errors that come about, but according to the state, we're close to like 98% at this point in time of accuracy based on sales and other factors that affect the assessment rolls. We're currently showing $32,316,341,560 dollars in assessments. That, if you'll take a look at those figures, the real estate is a little less than 30 billion, I'm sorry. And the personal property, it currently is right at 2.5 billion in assessed value. That represents $869,309,588 in what I'm going to say is potential revenue. And the reason I say in potential revenue because that is based upon what's collected by the trustee's office. So if you apply the 97% that the trustee just talked about to that, you'll have a pretty good picture of what the property tax revenue will be. Now, put an asterisk there. There is additional revenue that we are now focused upon, and it's substantial, that is not reflected in this number. It's not reflected in this number because it's primarily coming from data centers, and we are now auditing their returns that they've turned in. They're self-reporting, and we're going through them pretty vigorously, but they will be included in the certified tax rolls for April 20th. We do have them in. You know of some of them, and they've turned them in. They turned them in on the very last day, and so we're still going through them. And you can imagine we're talking about billions of dollars in assessed value, and so we're having to go through this very technical stuff, with a fine-tooth comb. But I can tell you, without giving you a final number, that it will be enough, in my opinion, if utilized by the commission properly, to offset the money that the commission will lose in recapture.
Okay. Chief Bailey, could we ask a question just around what that value was last year versus what you estimated to be this year?
So we had one major data center last year, which was XAI. They did not get a pilot, and so they pay full freight on their tax assessments. It came in, if I remember correctly, for the county somewhere around 16 million. It will be substantially greater this year, substantially greater. They have added 2 new sites, not one. The two-lane road site, which is huge, and they've also added a technical center. It's much smaller. I think that's only going to bring in about $50,000. But the new data center that they have built on Two-Lane Road it's substantial. Substantial. We're talking in assessed value, real close to $4 billion.
How much?
$4 billion in assessed value. Again, it's self-reporting, so we don't anticipate appeals because they reported it. But we still have to go through it to make sure that it is done properly. And so I can't give you a final number on that today. But without question, if the commission, and I'm not telling you how to do your job, but if the commission realizes and recognizes that figure as additional revenue, it will offset the losses that the trustee talked about, because those are real losses. And so it will definitely offset. In fact, you'll net some.
So this 16 million that was assessed in FY25, that was just county?
It's just county.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know what the assessed value was for the city? What they received?
It was 12 million, I believe.
12 in the city. Okay. Thank you.
Something around that. The good thing about the data centers that I'm pretty proud of is that they brought us to the table prior to construction, prior to completion. So we kind of worked through these things with them and worked through the kinks of how they would be assessed on the front end. And so we don't anticipate appeals. We don't anticipate any of that. again, it's self-reporting. On the real estate, we just, they're paying full freight on it. They haven't asked for any kind of incentives. And so that I am 100% sure that the revenue that will be generated from these new economic engines will be enough to offset your losses.
Thank you.
Impact on the tax base. The Board of Equalization, the county board is still in play. The state board is still in session. But as it relates to FY26 money, we anticipate the county board going out of session end of March, early April. And so we'll know what that recapture rate is when they go out of session. Right now, it's right at, we've used up about 23.5% of the monies out of the 17 million that was allocated as an appeals allowance. We're not going to get anywhere near 17 million. We're not going to get anywhere near half of that. So there's going to be a recapture without any question. And as the trustees already indicated, we've made in assessed value approximately 43, almost $44 million in reductions from what we call assessors reviews. What that is we try to encourage, particularly businesses, rather than file appeals that create a backlog that sometimes takes us years to finish, to come in and meet with us, bring their lawyers, bring their accountants, bring whoever they're going to bring, and we try to work it out. And that's what the assessors reviews are. All right, just so you understand the difference in the two. And of course, the State Board of Equalization is still in session, but most of the large appeals that are being heard by the State Board have been worked out. The largest was St. Francis Hospital, and we've concluded that. And so that's over. So we pretty much know where we're falling in terms of the appeals allowance. We've talked about recapture. I just went over it with you. You can anticipate that. We'll certify the tax roll on April 20th. Actually, we'll send it to the trustee in about a week and a half. It's pretty much done. But by law, we certify on April 20th. So we'll certify the roll on April 20th. And subsequently, we'll hear from the state as to what that recapture rate is. One more thing on recapture. Let me say this. There is room for some argument with them about that because they're looking at what revenue we had before, but there has been quite a bit of new construction and growth, particularly in Collierville, Arlington, Lakeland, and so we'll argue back and forth with them a little bit. I don't know how successful that'll be, but it wasn't successful when we tried to keep them from setting that allowance at $17 million. But we will make the effort to do so.
Chief Bailey, before you move on, could you give an explanation of how the state determines what that value is, the appeal allowance?
So when setting the certified tax rate, they send the administration, the trustee, and the assessor, or the assessor's office, that was some wishful thinking right there. They send us a worksheet. We worked with the administration, the CFO, budget director, myself, and the trustee. We worked through those worksheets pretty vigorously. When it came down to that part that we're talking about now, what that appeals allowance would be, the impact on the levy, right? We argued with them that they should not include 2021 in their trending. They do trending because it was an anomaly. It was coming out of COVID. It was a reappraisal where we thought there were going to be 40,000 appeals coming out of COVID, and there were only 13. We were going by what was happening all over the state. And consequently, the executive secretary for the Board of Equalization ruled that The statute required them to include that year. And so consequently, they included a year that, in my opinion, should not have been included. You know, we could have argued, maybe we could have gone and challenged it through litigation, but I don't think we were going to get anywhere with this legislature. So that's how we ended up with the 17 million. That comes from trending over a number of years. I think they went back they went back to 2009. And so that's how we got it. None of us thought we were going to need that much money.
I guess I'm trying to understand the difference between FY25 and FY26 with the allowance being so high, because it would have included, when you're putting it in the budget for last year, it would have included 21 as well, but what's the difference between the 2 years?
The difference is that it's a trend from 2009, every reappraisal, the subsequent year, after every reappraisal coming forward. When they averaged that out, the mean value came out to $17 million.
But the mean value would have included that year last year. And so what's the difference between why the recapture rate? Is it just because it wasn't, it's not?
We only have a recapture right after a reappraisal.
Got it, okay, thank you.
I didn't understand your question at first. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
Commissioner Brooks. Thank you. Mr. Bailey, could you go back and talk a little bit more about self-reporting, particularly as it relates to XAI? When they self-report, is it a form that they use that's supplied by you?
Yes.
And is there anything that you do afterwards in terms of monitoring and assurance or enforcement?
Yes. The form is a form that is actually created by the state.
Okay.
And we do use the form. Every county uses that form. All personal property and state assessed properties are self-reported. Now, we have a random audit of 100 companies that file their reports. We randomly audit them every year. But when they're working with us from the very beginning, so that we kind of know what's coming, and they work with us on how they put it on the form, what goes in that form, and the most important part is what the value of the depreciation is, then there's really no need to audit them because we've been holding their data and working with them and processing that data from the very beginning. With respect to XAI, they started working with us in May of 2024. And so by the time we certified in 2025, we had a real good idea where it was going. I did know they were going to expand. I did not know they would expand as quickly as they did. And so consequently, when they purchased the $72 million building on Tulane Road, and they quickly began to move the hardware and the software into that building, I contacted their representative and spoke with him directly. And I asked him, at what point would that building be coming online? He says, we're ready to plug it up now. So that was a little shocking, but we then encouraged them to go ahead and began working with us in terms of what they had put in the building and what would go on their form. And the reason for that is I don't have the staff to chase down $10 billion worth of computer equipment, nor do we have the technical expertise to do so. So we have to work with them on the front end in order to ascertain whether or not they're giving us the appropriate values. I think they've been very forthcoming. That's my personal opinion.
Based on, I'm just...
No, it's okay. Yeah. It's a good question. But I'm just telling you, I mean, I had the same issue with the company that is installing fiber optics all over the city. 40 square miles of fiber optics. We don't have the staff to go look at every single line and wonder what's underground, what's above ground, who owns it, and so forth. So we have to depend on the self-reporting mechanism. And if there's any indication that they're not reporting something, then that will trigger an audit.
What kind of indication would that be? I mean, for an example.
If the sales receipts don't match up with what they've got on that form, that would be an indication. Personally, I felt that these data centers should be state assessed property. And I personally argued with the comptroller himself regarding why this is not a state assessed property. It's a utility. It's no different than cell towers and solar fields and so forth. But the state very rigorously told me I didn't know what I was talking about. So it's our problem.
Okay. Chief Bailey, just kind of on that note, have you gotten any indication or any sense of the long-term forecasts here? Because, these chips depreciate, rapidly. And so, there's some reasonable expectation that the value decreases over time relative to, in many cases, values increase on property. Right. So what is your understanding of the depreciation schedule and how that might impact tax revenue?
It's depreciating, those chips depreciate at a rate of about 35% faster than most computer equipment. They get hotter than the sun. And so they burn up really, really fast. And that's why they need so much water. They run cooling units through the hardware in order to try to keep it cooled down. But they burn up real fast. However, they bring them in as quick as they burn up. And so it's my understanding that a chip will not last beyond 2.5 to 3 years. I won't get into the brand that they're using, but they depreciate pretty fast.
Yeah. So just in terms of impact to county tax revenue, is your sense that the value then of the chips is being refreshed, basically held steady and potentially increases with increased footprint, or is it more likely than not that the value or the assessment decreases, over time?
I think it's going to increase, not decrease. I also believe that the new economic engine for Shelby County will be tech. It will be data centers. There are 2 buildings that have just been purchased by other companies, not XAI, that are bringing substantial, comparable sized data centers to this area. One of the indicators is that Google is putting a supercomputer in West Memphis. Now that's a strong indicator that the giants in the market have decided that this area is attractive to them. And we're seeing the purchases now. We track them. We're seeing the purchases coming in pretty fast. There's one that's just bought the Century building on Sycamore View. The old Fred's headquarters on Old Getwell Road has been purchased. It is a data center going in now. And I'm aware of at least 4 others that I know of, including 2 that are coming downtown. So it's substantial. I do not see the footprint getting smaller. That footprint will definitely increase over the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, all right, thank you. Commissioners, any other questions for Chief Bailey? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we've now come to the part of the agenda for any additional Q&A that other elected officials or county government staff or members of the public might have, or just any feedback on anything you heard today. As you've seen, this has been focused on revenues. I think I would really appreciate a particular slide that Trustee Newman shared with the arrows of how different actions either have a positive or negative impact on revenues. Really important to understand that. So if there are any questions from anyone, we've got some time to do so. All right, Clerk Sawyer. We'll we'll make sure we get you a microphone. Oh, you've got one, okay.
Good morning, afternoon. Thank you so much for inviting us to join you guys today. I have a couple of questions. Chairwoman, is it okay if I ask multiple?
Sure. This is Commissioner Whaley's meeting.
All right, a couple of questions and comments, because this was very informative, and we just want to make sure that we're prepared as well. First, in looking through the calendar for this year, will there be individual presentations this year by elected officials, or is there only going to be the review by Finance and Administration? Because unless I'm missing it, May 27th. So the May 27th meeting is the meeting when we will present to the commission. Yes.
That's
Okay.
right. So I did mention that may change to May 20th.
Okay.
But yes, there will be an opportunity for you to present to the commission. It'll be either the 27th or the 20th. We'll finalize that soon so you know which date it is.
Thank you. And then is the community budget meeting still happening? That is listed here, and are you all asking electeds to attend, or is that just the community and commission?
Well, everyone's invited to attend. I think the idea is that it's a kind of opportunity to solicit impact or feedback from the public and then share more about the budget process. I think kind of stepping back a little bit on what are the components of the budget, how is it created, what generally goes where, and then be able to solicit feedback on any particular priorities that come up. So there is that one that's scheduled for the end of May, and then I mentioned we're going to work to do another one in June before we do a final passage of the budget.
Okay, thank you. So we've had trouble with navigating Oracle with the update. It's been very, very, and this is no attack on Shelby County IT. They've been amazing, so has finance, but anytime, as you know, you go through systems change, it's very hard. Even us just getting HR positions updated right now is taking a long time. And I'm a little concerned about the dates and deadlines with the issues with Oracle. So it's just more of a comment, less a question, but I just think that it would be best for us as electeds and for you all for us to make some space so that we, in case Shelby County Finance or any of our offices encounter issues, as we continue to make that adjustment.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
The comp policy is on here as being presented in April, and to date, we have not had a meeting. And as we've shared via our fearless elected leader, Trustee Newman, we have made that request, and we've yet to be allowed to meet with the compensation team or the compensation board, and I believe that we shared language that we are required to be a part of that. The compensation policy should not be presented to the commission without the electeds listed in the charter as being a part of that final drafting. So we just ask that you all help us make headway there.
Yes, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have been stuck on this penny issue, not the pennies that the trustee and Chief Bailey were just speaking of, but the county, Brentwood, Tennessee, just passed a resolution banning the use of pennies as cash pay. And I would just like you all to consider that as you're moving forward. A lot of the courts, as well as I'm sure the trustee and the assessor's office and Clerk Halbert's office, we do still have people who pay with cash. What cities across the state are starting to do is if you pay in cash, it gets rounded up or down to the nearest nickel or dime. But if you pay with a card, then you pay to the penny. And that's just something that I think we need to consider, or I would ask you all to consider as you're working through the budget, because we are going to end up with with a huge shortage. Commissioner Wright and I drafted a resolution together asking for the state to do a statewide adjustment, but in the meantime, cities and counties are making changes.
Okay, have you shared a sample that we can use at the local level or a draft?
I don't know if I sent the Brentwood one. Right now, the resolution we have is just a recommendation to the commission's legislative.
Could you share the Brentwood?
Yeah. I'll share the language.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Great. Oh, there's more. Yes.
I'm probably spending more time than I did as a commissioner.
We don't have the timer.
It's beautiful. Hey, I only got 2 more Post-its. All right, so trend down. I just wanted to share that there is definitely a trend down on court revenue on the civil side. Part of that is based on the backlog that won't be resolved until we have e-filing fully in place, as well as our backlog of papers scanned into our system, but also it trends with the economy. So while we are having more cases come in on the civil side, those are economic, civil cases, more garnishments, more evictions. And so even though we are seeing our cases rise, we just raised our docket limit about 2 months ago at the beginning of the year, we aren't seeing that then those court costs get paid. And so that is trending nationwide, and I wanted to share that because there's often an expectation of us reaching our full budget plus a couple $1 million turned over every year, but we have been trending downward, and the trustee did a very helpful review of our 5-year trend, and we've been trending downward for the last 5 years, and I wanted us to share that as well. On the criminal side, our costs are going up as we are seeing. We just had a meeting with Highway Patrol last week. We are seeing some days in our traffic court upwards of 500 people on the docket per day, but those are often getting dismissed because of the size of the docket. Also, a lot of the cases that are associated with Highway Patrol equal more time for us, and we're spending that time and that money on our personnel, but those fees and costs aren't coming to our court. So we're almost getting negative payoff. The mayor has recommended that we track what we expend related to this increase, and we're doing that. But I did want to share that the courts, at least I know my court, is on a 5-year downward trend, and is going to, if it continues over the next 5 years, we will cost more to the county than we turn over to the county.
So Clerk Sawyer, can you give what the percentage decrease has been that you've been trending down over the last 5 years?
I didn't bring my laptop, but I can send you the report. I'll email that with the penny legislation.
Yeah.
But I do, or trustee.
Yep, all right. Sorry, Commissioner Caswell, did you, and Commissioner Thorne?
I'll let the trustee say. I have a question, but I know trustee.
Okay, all right, yeah. Trustee Newman.
Thank you, Clerk. Essentially, what Clerk Sawyer is saying, and I can send y'all the charts for every court clerk, because aside from probate, all of the court clerks have essentially been trending down for 5 years in terms of revenues incoming. Now, they did get, and the other court clerks did get an increase in statutory filing fees as of January 1st, so maybe this year will be slightly offset, but I can send you the charts we did for each of them for the last 5 years.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Caswell.
Can I just say with the statutory increase also, the state did break down what that increase goes to. So our statutory increase does not fully come to us. For example, part of it goes to the clerk education fund that's statewide and covers our training. And so even though there is an increase, we don't get all of that increase. And I can share what the increase breakdown is alongside with what the trustees share.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Clerk, I know that we have conversation before about you was taking a trip to Texas around AI being used into your clerk's office, and I was just wondering, I guess for all clerks and others, how have y'all looked at artificial intelligence, making it more efficient in some capacity, but being able maybe even if it allows you to cut some costs or somewhere?
So it all goes with where we are with technology. We can't get there until we get to our system upgrade. And on the civil side, because we're not doing any e-filing yet. On the civil side, all of the civil courts are scheduled for e-filing implementation and e-payments online this summer. It will take a little bit longer, we anticipate, for general sessions because we have the largest caseload, but we are hopeful that by August, September, all of the civil courts are online for e-filing, which is then when you get into using AI to pick up that backlog, and then those would just be not manual, but batch uploaded through the use of AI and technology by the vendor. As far as AI being able to help with processing of, our caseload on both the criminal and civil side, there are innovations. Our data officer just finished a master's certificate in AI for courts through NACO. But again, where we are, and we can all tell you about our offices, where we are at technology is about 15 years behind. So we can plan for AI, but right now I can tell you what all of the court clerks are doing is catching us up to today, and then we can get to, but we are actively learning it. Like, my team attends the tech conferences, and I know the others do as well, and we're thinking about how we can use AI, but right now we're just trying to get those boxes off the floor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Yep, thank you.
I'm almost, does somebody have a question?
Yeah, I think there was one. Commissioner Thornton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Clerk Sawyer. The trending downward for the court revenue, what is that attributed to? I was listening to hear if there was anything significant. And then as we hear, particularly with the increase in arrests and persons going to the courts, is that impacting that trend at all, like momentarily, or anything that you can speak to that would correlate what's happening presently to what's happening in the courts?
So I think how do I say this without politicizing it? On the civil side, I think it's economic. People cannot pay the court cost fees, or they make the decision not to pay the court cost fees. If you're evicted and you've got to go find a new apartment, the last thing you're going to do is say, well, let me make sure Shelby County is okay, because I've got to go find housing. Now, they might figure that out. They might do other things. One thing that we are looking at is piggybacking off of some of the collections contracts that exist in the county so that we can start to collect those funds. On the criminal side, we estimate we're owed about, $3 million from bail bond companies that have not paid when people violated their bail and bond agreements. And so since they have not previously been asked by our office to pay the county what they owe on the bond when somebody violates their bond order, they have not paid that. We put out letters in November, asking, and we got about 10% response, maybe. So about 10% of $1 million was paid in outstanding, and that was just $1 million for the last fiscal year. If we go back through the last administration and the first year and a half of this administration, we're probably looking at about $3 to $5 million that we could recoup from the bail bond industry on expired or violated bonds. And so we are looking at ways to, we could go, we could do collections, we can do the bail bond, but one of the reasons, honestly, that a lot of the court revenue is going down is people are making decisions every day about, if I get evicted, I'm not paying the Shelby County Court Clerk,
All right, thank you. Clerk, sir, hold that last thought. I want to make sure we can get to any other questions first, and then we'll come back to you just to make sure we don't run out of time. Are there any other offices or elected officials that just have any questions from today? Okay.
I think I'm the captain today.
All right, Captain.
I've been banging the drum on this, and Chairman Bradford's done a good job really listening to me on this. But for those of you who are going to be on the commission next year, and those of you who are on the way onto whatever is next, I would just like to ask you all, as we are discussing the jail and as you all are thinking about the jail, if you have not walked through the administrative side of 201, we are scheduled to spend millions of dollars already on those improvements. Like if you go through the rehab of Clerk Kuhn's office and the DA's office, but then you come over to the 8th floor to my office or Sheriff Bonner's office, you will see the differences. The 8th floor where my offices are in 201 have rotten carpet, have mold on the ceiling, but it is scheduled for upgrade. That money is already prepared to be allocated. And so one thing that, as we heard from Chief Norville, I believe in the last jail meeting, is that the upgrades for 201 administrative side would have been done much sooner. COVID hit, other things hit, we've got tariffs. But for the next 3 to 4 years, we will be in the middle of a upgrade process of 201 while also preparing to spend money to relocate a new jail, and we're double dipping. And so I just wanted to highlight that as well. Really quickly, you all talked about grants to the outside. I agree. I love the process you laid out. That is not my vote, that is y'all's vote. Really love that process, but I would like us also to consider things such as our rental assistance program no longer is able to meet the need of the community. Once ARPA funds ran out, we can no longer provide rental assistance from the county to the community, and our MLGW utilities program is struggling the same. And then the last thing that I have, continuity. It's been my favorite word the last month. I know, again, that there is going to be transition at this table as well as in this room. We'll probably see a 70% change of leadership across the county as we are in the 8-year cycle. And it's not just the elected officials, but administrative leads will change as well. And I would like to recommend to the commission, one thing that we do know is, and I can tell you firsthand, when you are elected into an administrative office, there is no playbook. We think we know what we know, but I can tell you firsthand, it takes 2 years to figure it out. And so I would just really like to recommend that the commission consider in the budget this year a strategic investment in a onboarding or training plan of the new administrations that are coming in the 2027, what year is this? 2026. Elections, because we will have a new trustee, we will have a new assessor, we will have a new criminal court clerk, we will have a new clerk, and so almost every major office that is over revenue is going to change, and so I think those financial trainings at a minimum would be really important investment. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Yep, Commissioner Caswell.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. To that point, I know that CTAS offers that training is not offered at that level. Or are you saying something deeper?
Something deeper, because we all do things different. My team, we've all completed CTAS training, but I can also tell you that CTAS does not come to Shelby County often. So for me to get CTAS credits, I took some Register of Deed courses, I took some county clerk courses. It was not General Sessions Court clerk courses. And then to get my elective credits, it's like how to talk nice to your staff. And I mean, maybe I do need that, but I don't need 80 of those. I have to get 80, credits. And so CTAS training is great. The CTAS conference is helpful. I think more helpful when we go to the clerks conferences. I can tell you that I learn a lot when I go to those conferences. But as far as how Shelby County itself operates, it is so specific. everything from purchasing to the budget to HR. I thought I could, everybody probably remembers, I thought that the day I won, I could walk over there and be like, hey, y'all, where's my office? I got work to do. And, it caused strife. But, on one hand, people thought I could. On the other hand, people thought I couldn't. But just the same way that, I think what CTAS has started and grown to do, the training that y'all go through as commissioners, we didn't have to go through in 2018. And so I think it was it was optional. Now it's required. And I just think we've done remember we did strategic planning with the county. And I'm not talking about a month-long training, but this is Shelby County, and these are your current rules, these are, operations, things like that. It's going to cause, we're in the middle of so much that's not going to stop just because there's an election. If we're able to help whoever gets into these administrative positions and into these seats, it shortens the runway.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Clerk Sawyer, and thank you, everyone. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it there for now, but would love to, Chairwoman Avant, if you have any final words, and then we'll close it out.
I want to thank Budget Chair Whaley for putting together today's agenda. I think it was very informative for us. Appreciate Trustee Newman and Chief Bailey for their presentations, which I think provided a lot of insight. I think I started my comments by saying there's opportunities, but I do see that we now have a lot of challenges, but we have much more opportunity. Appreciate that the staff, of course, for all of your hard work and I know it's not easy. It takes a lot to put together a meeting in our own building. I can only imagine what it does, the amount of effort it takes to put together something at a different location. So again, thank you to the staff for that. I would like to challenge my colleagues and the other elected officials as we go through this budget process. One, for us to be very thoughtful about the information that's presented to us. And that may mean taking some time in between our meetings in order to really study and share and ask some of those questions. I mean, I think as the presentations happen from the elected officials, it would be beneficial for us to kind of do our due diligence in between those meetings to ask some of those very pertinent questions so that as we come together as a body to make decisions on our budget, we've had some really thoughtful and insightful questions from each of the divisions, the departments, and from the administration. It will not be an easy task, but I think that there is some work that will need to be done in between our meetings, some real due diligence and studying from us as a body. And I think we have the group that can do that, right? I think we have overcome a lot of different challenges over the last 4 years. Specifically, we have had to make some really tough decisions, but we've made some very key investments, as the mayor has shared. And so as we look at the challenges before us and the opportunities that have been presented to us, I think it is our responsibility to leave this county better than we found it. And the only way that we can do that is really working together. It has to be a shared vision for what is best for Shelby County, and I think we have the right group of people for us to make that happen. So again, thank you to everyone for your time today. I know it's not always easy to give up a Saturday morning, but I think we have had a great opportunity in today's meeting to kind of help us set the stage for what we'll be doing over the next few months. Again, thank you to Chair Whaley for his vision and providing great context for us and a foundation for us to move forward, and that in this process that we will submit by June 15th, rather June 30th, we know that we've done the best work possible, and I think we have the expertise, commitment, and passion of everyone in this room for us to get that done. So again, thank you for your time today and have a great rest of your Saturday.